It's Tuesday night, it's 9 o'clock. Hello and konnichiwa from Okayama International Circuit for the latest round of the RTA Virtual Motorsports GR86 Cup for 2026. So, we have had 5 rounds already. We're on to our 6th round now, and it's Dylan McClements who leads the championship after some incredible performances over the last number of weeks. And as the rain hammers down across Ireland today, and indeed all this week, it seems, the rain is indeed hammering down here as well in the land of the rising sun. So, across the Pacific, we have travelled from last week from Road Atlanta. We go right around the world and across to Okayama International Circuit. This track is a RTA regular, not Road Atlanta. I really need to remember to update those side of things. But Okayama, what I can tell you about it, it's 3.703 kilometers. A private racing track, of course, came to prominence in the 1990s, and still hosts major championships, including Super Formula, Super GT, and the MFJ Super Bike Championships. But yeah, a course that we've talked about before plenty, a course that's hosted plenty of RTA championships, and unexpectedly this evening, Evan, I have to say, for me, we have rain this evening.
Yes, it is a downpour here in Japan, and it is quite slippy out on circuit once again. Nothing that these drivers aren't used to with Jordan Kelly setting up the servers. But good evening, folks. It's a big night in the championship in the RTA GR86 Cup here at a circuit where Michael Schumacher won a world championship in Okayama. I suspect tonight we'll see crashes, chaos, and everything in between.
Yeah, and it may be also a track where another young prodigy puts his hand firmly on the championship title and could potentially, wait, now what do we have? No, probably not quite mathematically yet, but could, by virtually, for all things considered, put himself top of the championship and win his latest RTA Virtual Series. That man is indeed Dylan McClements, the number 88. But look at this. There's one man who's ahead of him in the practice session. That is Eric Killeen Bicky with a 142.923. I don't know whether he's done a Chris, or not a Chris even, a Peter McCann, and gone over the grass and decided to nefariously take top position, but 142.923 nonetheless. Going to be an interesting one. We will see how the weather plays out. This looks very wet on track at the moment, Evan, but if Jordan Kelly has anything to go by, we will probably go dry, absolutely torrential, and then drying for the final race.
Yeah, it's a rather predictable pattern at this point when Jordan Kelly sets up the server, but it's not too fun here in Okayama at the moment. It's a bit of a mixed bag in terms of the circuit. Some people love it, some people hate it. It's not a circuit with the greatest of flow of all time, but some people really like racing here. You've got these tricky last two hairpins as well, which sometimes cause carnage, as well as the two short left-handers before it. It has the most creative first and last turn names, known as first corner and last corner, all the way down to the Atwood curve, which is at the right-hand hairpin. But in terms of the championship picture, it is one man far and away at the top, and that is Dylan McClements, the only man over 400 points.
Yeah, Dylan absolutely massively in the lead. So imagine that Harvey had the early lead in this championship. Dylan has certainly taken it his way away from him, although a fantastic battle between those two all the way through last week at Road Atlanta, and 3 races that served up both thrills and spills, but more thrills than spills. Harvey Dara in second place in the McDonald's car. He's our thumbnail for the evening, so he might win the championship, but he certainly has put his name in the spotlight, followed by Sean McClements, who isn't on track and joined us in the chat. So hello to you, Sean. We'll see how Sean... What I'm sure Sean will be telling us himself exactly why he's not on track. Travis Mooney, Johnny Reed. Oh, he is racing. Oh, okay. I didn't see his name initially. Oh, there it is. Okay. This is a bit of a clusterfunk.
Yeah, this is their latest attempt at
is
comedy.
This looks, I was going to say, this looks like it's This looks like some sort of a French protest. But yeah, Johnny Reid, then Ryan Evan Johnson, Sean McGoldrick, Conor Meliak, Jordan Kelly, Lee Cogan, Carl Corkin, Eric Killeen, Sean Smith, Kevin Joyce, Coney Griffin, Peter McCann, Ken Doyle, Darragh O'Connor, Graham Walpole, Sam O'Reilly, Adam Dowling, amazingly isn't last. He's followed by Gilberto Struck, Brandon McGaugh, and Queeveen Brennan. Evan Dalton, Evan, you are still 5 from the bottom, despite only having taken part in a single round.
That's not bad, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Ronan Keane, Simon Hutchings, Daniel Heaps, Dermot Toomey, and Grace McCallion, and I don't think that is going to be challenged. Hello to Cluster Funk says, let's go, Cathal and Bicky. Let's see if Eric Killeen can replicate that time in the qualifying session. And in the number 6 car, that is Kevin Joyce, the KFC, finger looking good. The Colonel being represented there on the back, a very manga Colonel, actually very fitting for Japan. Because as you may or may not know, probably do know, that KFC is Christmas dinner in Japan. It's a bit of a tradition over there that they have KFC for Christmas dinner. Here is the aforementioned Sean McClements on track. Joined us in the chat for a bit, but thankfully racing and in third position at the moment. And Evan, no doubt he'll be looking to make it a team DDR 1-2 by the end of the championship.
Yeah, definitely crashed or something on his outlap, because there's no way he wouldn't be part of the shenanigans. So, something happened there. Dylan McClemens has already started his hot lap here in the 15-minute session. Wet qualifying, very different than dry in the GR86s. GR86s, in dry qualifying, you might get a pit stop to change tyres. The tyres wear out very quickly. But all sort of wet racing and motorsport in terms of qualifying is the same. It's all about building up your momentum, scrubbing in the tyres a little bit and getting a good lap in towards the end of the session when your confidence is at an all-time high. On the other hand, you want to set laps quickly to get used to the conditions before it gets any wetter. But here is your championship leader, Dylan McClements, and I have a bit of a damning statistic. I like my statistics from time to time. So a bit of research last week brought me this one, which is quite scary for everyone other than the McClements household. So, 2026, we started with the scholarship season, of course, with Porsche Cups and the rest all the way up to GR86s. And quite fittingly, we have had 86 heat races in 2026. The McClements brothers have won 41 of them.
Jesus Christ. So
Dylan's won 28, Sean's won 13.
Almost half of the RTA heats this year have stayed in Dunloy.
Quite funnily, they both have more wins than they do other podiums.
That's incredible. I mean, the stat you pulled out last week that out of the wait now, we had 4 rounds. No, we're in round 5, so 3 rounds up to that point. Did we have like 12 races up to that point, of which Dylan had won 10, I think, in the championship?
Yeah, something silly like that.
Incredible statistic, and already he's out in front by just a 0.4 of a second ahead of Lee Cogan, obviously waiting for a cluster of cars who thankfully some of them managed to wreck themselves and trying to do that sort of, I don't know what it was. It was like right.
They were all trying to drive inside each other.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a phrase that you need to be very careful how you phrase that and put it. Thanks to everyone in the chat. We have Cluster Funk, as I mentioned earlier. Campto is here. He's doing British Formula F4 Esports next month, so best luck to Campo in that. We've Burley 3979, Cathal and Bicky Fan Club, reporting in from the Nürburgring. Very good, Burley. Is there a VLN this week in the Nürburgring, or is it just going over there to race it yourself? And Nordschleife, one of the tracks indeed on the F3 series, so that'll be fun having the Nords in F3.
Yeah, I'll never guess who picked the calendar.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Thanks. Evan said you'll never guess who picked the calendar, and then Ronan proceeded to guess the obvious guess that we all knew. So, but it's okay. I got the joke. It's all right, Ronan.
Thanks, Kevin. At least you're clued in.
I know, yeah. I didn't feel the need to jump in, but it's like Ronan's like, no, I know. Just let me give the answer. Just let me give the answer. Yeah, I've mentioned that. Ronan wants to remind me to. I was waiting for somebody to replicate.
Bit of a smart Alex tonight, isn't he?
Over the weekend. We only have to put up for a couple of weeks. And it's great that we can't
Sorry,
hear him on stream,
he'll
though. I
rage quit
mean,
again.
it's so
We've got
funny.
to say.
He's like Ronan's like uh, I don't know if you've ever seen that TV program Ghosts on the BBC, where there's the people who are living can't hear the ghosts, but there's only one person in the room can actually hear the ghosts, and that's Ronan is like the ghost. It's like
He's like
we can hear him,
Stewie
but
Griffin.
nobody else can hear him. Yeah. So Dylan McClemens, 152.3, quite a bit ahead of the rest of the pack. Sean McGoldrick with a 153, and Sean's quick himself, so that's a good marker to go by. Yeah, should be an interesting one. Carl Corcoran gone in second place at 152.955. So Bicky was fastest, but his old buddy CC is up there as well. Eric Killeen, 154.360. Imagine being named after an email chain. That's gotta be that's gotta be a difficult one to stomach, right?
I wouldn't be. Nah, don't be mean to Carl. He doesn't know
Just
what
as,
emails are.
just as well his first name isn't Brian, or he'd be like Ronan. Nobody would ever see him. Right. Adam Dowling's out of the pits, everybody, so that should be an interesting one. Should we really watch Adam, or shall we? I don't know.
Hold on, no. Let's give him a sector. Let's give him a sector and see.
Here he is now. I think we can all agree the most relevant man in this championship. Adam Dowling making his way through the opening. I feel really bad. He's such a nice guy as well, Adam. I'm such a big fan of him, but yeah.
Look, we have to give Ronan a break every so often from this.
We do, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And Adam is the latest for it. Adam, keeping as relevant as ever by still promoting.
I don't think Adam's ever watched a Gadget TV stream either, so we'll probably get away with it.
Yeah, it's great. We won't get any libel letters in the post. But yeah, staying as relevant as ever by running the Mayo for Sam livery, despite the fact that Mayo won Sam about 4 or 5 weeks ago. Anyway, Dylan McClemens has been
great poster
overtaken
today, actually advertising the Katie Taylor and Flora Pill fight, and it said, "Sorry, Flora, there can only be one Crow Park miracle this year."
Very good, excellent. Travis Winnie 152.288, faster than Dylan McClemens. So Dylan, by his own standards, absolutely struggling big time. Are the wheels falling off the McClemens bus? Oh, there it is. There is a bit of Ronan Hedeman there now going through the corner. Did exceptionally well in Formula Drift last week, so I've been reliably informed. So,
actually, speaking of which, there was an Irish Times article, and I realised how much I sound like Eamon Dunphy coming in with that line. But there was an Irish Times article that was saying about the three top talents from Irish drifting are all from the same road in Cork. But I thought Ronan Hedeman was from Naas.
yeah. I thought Ronan Hedeman, he's the lad who left us, just left for an old one. Right. He's a fraud. Yeah.
Ronan Hedeman's a cod.
Ronan Hedeman and Messi, both cots. Right. Travis Winnie still leading, and Brandon McGahan now into second. So Brandon's picked up the pace a bit, and Tony Griffin into fourth. Tony, as we said, we've mentioned a couple of times, he was our most improved driver last year, and it's funny because I feel like our expectations have outgrown Tony at the moment, because I feel like he's underperformed this season, but I don't know if that's necessarily because he's underperformed or it's just because our expectations have been raised so much from his performances last season.
Tony was getting good practice in for tonight. Going by Garage 61 at 3 minutes past 8, he was driving the VW Beetle Light at the Hell Rallycross circuit. So good practice for the horrendous conditions currently facing us in Okayama, and you can see and now heading to the gravel to recreate that rallycross, doing a nice job of holding it.
On cue, Tony Griffin, in fairness to him. He came in clutch for you.
Shocks look a bit low on that car.
Yeah. Oh, is this? Yes, Brandon McGahan. Yes. Oh, Brandon McGahan's liveries make me so happy. That is.
Yeah, I couldn't tell.
If that is a Big Les show livery, and Ronan Hedeman will remember for the Bathurst 1000 a couple of years ago, I did my own customized Big Les show livery for the Holden Commodore that we had before. Yeah, big fan of that. Big fan of that. Yeah, Brandon McGon. I hope Brandon wins all 3 races so we can talk to him about that livery, because that's outstanding. Can we
Hey,
do
Brandon, off
a
the
bit of
back of
a
a big win, of course, in Spa-Francorchamps in the Ligier European Series. It's hard to believe that he would still spend his Tuesday evenings racing a GR86 at Okayama, but good to see that the ego hasn't gone to his head anyways.
Yeah, let's get on board with Brandon. We can do a quick. We just had a look through first corner, and now we're coming up through Williams. So a lot of these corner names named after very famous racing drivers. Of course, this track, as we mentioned before, kind of taking that country club idea that the Japanese have. Golf very popular in Japan, and that kind of country club idea, and turning it into motorsport. So we're down towards the Atwood curve. That is a sort of you have to stay the inside because the camber is there, but you can almost treat it, especially in these conditions, as a double apex. As we come down now the main straight and up towards another one of the brilliantly inventively named corner, which is Hairpin Corner. And this is a corner that we've seen past plenty of history here between drivers in RTA. Plenty of big sends being sent down the inside. I remember, was it the USF 2000, one of the fixed, or one of the single seater championships? We had some absolutely outrageous sends in that. Then down through Revolver on the left hand side. You want to get to the outside here normally, but obviously a little bit slippier here with the conditions as you get round Piper Corner. And I think Brandon's going to pull off and let some drivers go past, but that's okay because he's still on track, so we can still talk our way through. Brandon just getting out of the way of some of the faster drivers. And there is the big Les car coming through, Brandon McGon. Up towards Redmond and coming around towards Hobbs. No, not named after the former economist that's turned conspiracy theorist, but of course the famous racing driver. And then Mike Knight Corner coming down here. There's the pit entrance, and you can cut that a little bit, but I think Brandon did a little bit too much as we get to the, as Evan said before, last corner, to avoid any confusion for these drivers as Brandon crosses the lines. Yeah, it's not really a track that has a lot of flow. It's kind of a bit awkward and a little bit disjointed, I would say, in a way. But obviously, in these conditions, a lot of these curves, particularly in the middle section, because of the camber on them, present, I suppose, a slightly different challenge for these drivers.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange track in a way, but you mentioned rightly the whole country club element and Japan giving us some funky tracks like this that very unique in the motorsport landscape. Travis Mawini up in third position, and as Johnny Hollywood in our stream chat rightly points out, it is Travis in the rain again. Of course, he got a podium on his scholarship run out in the Formula V. He did take pole initially, but started down at the back, so let's hope Jonathan isn't responsible for putting the lead in this car as well. In the rain, otherwise Travis won't be starting from third, but he's still behind the two McClements brothers with a minute to go, so it seems like even with the precarious positions, or precarious conditions I should say, in Japan tonight, no one is stopping Team DDR anytime soon.
No, and in fairness to Johnny, like he usually does piggybacks off other people's greatness. There was actually Campto originally had the shout for Travis in the rain, so in fairness, but no, I digress. There's a bit of a theme emerging here in terms of animation. Like we have the Grindy livery, South Park, of course. We have Mr. Sparkle from The Simpsons. We have obviously the Big Les show. Do we have any other liveries up and down the grid that pay homage to some of
We
our
have a
greatest
couple of
animated
Simpsons
series?
ones.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Mr. Sparkle is Simpsons,
Oh
but I
yeah,
don't know.
sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw a great T-shirt the other day and thought of you. It was the Burger King logo, but instead of saying Burger King, it said steamed hams.
Oh yeah, solid. Yeah, yeah. The greatest probably the most overdone scene in The Simpsons, but just an absolute piece of. Oh,
Oh,
there's
Ronald Hillman reference.
yeah. Except Ronan, that at least this time Eric Killeen didn't hit anybody while he was spun out. Right. That's your qualifying. Dylan McClements, for some people would say, unfortunately, leads us out. But Sean in second, Travis Winnie in the rain in third, Brandon McGon in fourth, Tony Griffin in fifth.
Yeah, very normal qualifying session for wet weather standards. Kevin Joyce in sixth position, then Sean McGoldrick in seventh, and it's Conor Melia, Lee Cogan, and Cole Crorkin in 10th, and it's Ken Doyle, Ryan Johnson, Eric Killeen, Johnny Reid, Peter McCann, Sam O'Reilly, Quevian Brennan, Graham Walpole, Adam Dowling ahead of Ronan Keane in 20th position. So a bit of a normal sort of grid, but Wet racing always brings up surprises, although the backdrop behind our beautiful Gantry TV graphic looks a lot drier than it did during qualifying.
Yeah, I mean, that's generally where we go, isn't it? We have first race is dry, second race, and then there's inevitably somebody ends up forgetting to take the wet tires off. Then the second race is an absolute monsoon, and then the third
Yeah,
race is
there's
kind of,
three, or there's two on slicks going by the timing screen so far. Travis and Sam, although Travis now going for the wet, so it's just Cathal Corkin going for the slicks. There'll always be one gambler.
Yeah, well, I mean, it didn't work out at Knockhill, but it may work out at Okayama as we get ready for the lights to go red. Obviously, we're still waiting for Dylan McClements, and look at that, there is Dylan McClements. Oh, Sean McClements at least gritting, blocking the fabulous view of Sassy the Sasquatch on the front of Sean McGoldrick's, or sorry, Brandon McGahan's car. As you said, yeah, Brandon had a brilliant weekend in Spa-Francorchamps, and it's always great to see an Irish driver stepping on the podium of that famous racing track, where, of course, we had probably our best ever moment. Anyway, let's get going.
Yes, Cathal Corkin and Sam O'Reilly going for the slick tyres, and Kevin Joyce not making it to the grid by the looks of things, but we go racing here in Okayama, and the pole sitter gets the best of the getaways down towards the first corner. Tony Griffin has to defend from Sean McGoldrick. It is a lot faster through here than you think, so you've got to thread the needle very carefully in the wet tyres. Cathal Corkin is already gone, so that confirms that the wet tyre was the correct choice of compounds here on the opening heat in Okayama. That's Brandon McGahan right in the tail of Travis Moini down towards the first hairpin, the tightest hairpin on the circuit, but one that opens up nicely, and you can get a real run down towards the biggest braking zone, and some say the best overtaking position.
Yeah, Burley says Cathal on slicks in the rain, name a more iconic duo. Outrageous stuff there. Also, I meant to mention Sean McGoldrick, technically due to his livery, this is a home race for him being Mr. Sparkle. So let's hope he can keep the fine workers of the whatever it is, the Mitsubishi manufacturing concern.
Kevin is an adult,
Um,
just in case you weren't sure.
Oh, no, Mr. Sparkle, no!
Oh, did
God.
well.
Did very well there. Did Conor Melia to avoid Sean McGoldrick, and unfortunately Sean is pointing in the wrong direction as we barrel down towards Revolver. Sorry, past Revolver. That was Piper when we got through, and that's also Adam Dowling going for a spin. So yeah, exactly. Adam
Fork
Dowling
found in the kitchen.
Yeah, Adam Dowling pointing in the wrong direction. Name a more iconic duo. Lee Cogan down the inside of Conor Melia, and Conor, having taken evasive action, he's up 2 places. Ryan Evan Johnson is up 4 places, and Johnny Reid and Peter McCann up 5 places.
Yet the carnage kicking off early here. Remarkably, the top 5 remain as they were, and Dylan's already pulling a gap on Sean. 7/10 of a second separates them, but it's a lot more chaotic down the back. Here is Ryan Johnson, who we are on board with, in the number 410. He's looking for the move on Lee Cogan, and dare I say it could be last of the late breakers into the first corner. It absolutely is. And Lee Cogan is looking to hang it around the outside. Gives Ryan a wide berth, probably feels he doesn't have the pace of the young man here, so he'll just stick on the rear bumper, try follow him through and catch back up to Conor Mealy in front. But this is Johnny Reid and Peter McCann who are battling on the winding straight down towards the hairpin. Reid in 9th has stood on the podium this season, but still looking for that first win.
Yeah, absolutely. Still looking for that first win is Johnny Reid, but he's hunting around there, and he's had some good, as you say, results thus far. Yeah, Sean in 2nd place, and he has Travis behind him. It is. I was going to make a point there about something, but it's gone clean out of my head. So you have to come back to me. But that is a move down the inside from Travis Mooney. But Sean's going to cover that off, and is going to have the advantage. Yeah, Dylan already starting a gap here, and these conditions. He just seems really comfortable. The point I was going to make actually about Dylan McClements is, can we just crowdfund for Dylan to get a GR86 in real life when he turns the age that he needs to do to get that done, and we could just piggyback off his success. I mean, it's a bit like sponsoring a racehorse. So just, pay the money for him to do what he needs to do, and then just reap the rewards from his winnings. I feel like that would be a good crowdfunder project for Dylan McClements, because he is so rapid and comfortable in these cars. I mean, I can imagine Dylan getting into one of these cars in real life and just being able to do exactly what he's doing here on track, because the skill level is off the scale with Dylan McClements, particularly these GR86 cars. I mean, he's always rapid, but he's so comfortable in these things.
Yeah, Travis Mooney and Brandon McGaughan swapping positions. They're right on the tail of Sean, who's under a lot more pressure than Dylan is in this race. Usually the two brothers are fairly nip and tuck, but Dylan just seems to have that little bit of a pace advantage. Like on the last lap, Dylan was 6 tenths of a second, well, no, 5 tenths of a second, we'll give Sean his dues, quicker than his older brother. But fastest lap went to Conor Melia, who's in sixth position. He's got a bit of breathing room, 8 tenths of a second separate himself and Kerry man Tony Griffin. And Conor, who is on a bit of an upwards trend in terms of his racing career, a big win in Silverstone as well as an RTA podium last week. He's hunting down Griffin for fifth place. But this is McCann, who we're looking at, with Ken Doyle in the Ling Motorsports car behind, and Eric Killeen in the Wu-Tang Clan livery in front. And Bicky is under a bit of pressure here. Not the greatest fan, or not the biggest fan, I should say, of wet racing. Usually goes quite well in the more damp conditions, though, but McCann is right behind him.
Yeah, he loves a wet bicky. Everyone loves a wet bicky. Right, let's see
That was a bad time to take a drink. My word.
I was going to say the Formula V budget obviously didn't cover you to go to Silverstone, Evan. Then.
No. Get the finger out, Johnny.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're happy to lean on his expertise when he does the driving, but then when it involves actually going somewhere of real interest, it's now all of a sudden we can't find the money. Come on, it's not good enough. Soggy Bicky. Yeah. We won't go there. Right, Brandon McGaughan.
We've already gone there.
Yeah, I suppose we have. I was trying to dance around the subject, but Johnny just went straight in there. Yeah, Brandon all over the back of Travis Mooney, and yeah, like they're swapping places between the two of them. They obviously feel like they're not going to get that close to the two McClemens brothers because they're racing pretty hard for this third position. As Eric shows the nose down the inside on Ken Doyle. I wondered, did Eric fall back a little bit there, because I thought he was further up the grid when we were looking at him last. But behind Ken and Peter McCann, it's all a very actually exceptional driving. Not exceptionally close racing, but everybody adapting to these wet conditions really well.
Yeah, it's also a terrible track, which doesn't help.
Wouldn't have this in the Nordschleife play that much.
No, and the Nordschleife are returning to RTA for next season, folks, in single-seaters, so that'll be a good one to look forward to. Yeah. But here's Conor Melia in the slipstream of Tony Griffin, and Conor setting some fast laps. He was 0.4 of a second quicker than Tony Griffin, and he's going to try a move on the Kerry man on the brakes, but no, Tony clean round the outside. Conor not close enough just yet, but the pace is good from the Dubliner so far. Promising signs for Melia, who is still looking to get a high position in this championship.
Yeah, I don't know would I want to drive an F3 over Flansgarden in real life. Oh, we have a spinner. That's Ken Doyle. I really don't know if I value my life that little that I would do it in real life. Ken, that's not the way to do it. Ken, yeah, that's not ideal from Doyle there, but yeah, I just F3s. That sounds like a recipe for disaster, I have to say. There's going to be a lot of floors ruined in that race, I suspect.
Yeah. Thankfully, we're all doing it from the comfort of our central heated homes, so we won't be getting into too much bother. Here is Brandon.
I know, yeah. Do you know what I live in? I live in dirt and bold.
Kevin bought an iPad just for or bought a tablet just for Flight Simulator. Do not listen to this man.
And I do it again. Not necessarily true. I also put the library app on it so I can read my books and my magazines on my tablet as well. So it's dual functionality. Like.
How does he go from talking about cartoons to reading his magazine?
Because I'm a diverse individual and I don't let other people pigeonhole me like the likes of you, right?
Going around 10 and 50 at the same time.
I've got nothing else going on. I just go to karting tracks around the country. Yeah, I've a broader outlook on life, Evan Dalton. Okay, so excuse you for having your eyes opened to the world.
Just goes to karting tracks around the country. I'd go to other racing circuits as well.
That makes it worse. That makes it so much worse.
So, Irish Formula V, folks, no, we're looking at actually a fairly aggressive battle while we are.
In the middle of a fairly aggressive, a passive
Yeah,
aggressive
yeah,
battle.
yeah, true. Travis Mawhinney is under a lot of or Brandon McGowan, I should say, is under a lot of pressure from Tony Griffin here, as we cut to Sean McGoldrick and Graham Walpole fighting for the minor placings, and Sean. Now we're back to what we were looking at before we rudely cut it away. Now it's Tony Griffin. Under a lot of pressure from Conor Mealy out of the final corner, and that is a big weave from Brandon McGowan into 500 style as we just about start the final lap of the race. Only 30 seconds left on the clock, but we're across the line, so we will race it. And Conor Mealy looks for the move down the inside, but no, still can't quite get there. The brakes, not the greatest things in the world on these cars, and I think we're seeing a lot of drivers playing it rather cautious, knowing that this is the first heat of 3, and this race will decide your starting position for heat 2.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You don't want to throw your race away straight away. Brandon McGowan so close to the pit wall there. I was wondering, did he think it was the last lap for a second? But yeah, we were talking about how just as well we don't, we're not racing in real life when it comes to F3s to Northside. I think it's probably just as well we're not sharing a commentary box in real life either. It'd be a bit like the early days of James Hunt and Murray Walker, where the two of them are fighting over a single microphone.
I'll have to stand on foam padding again.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't a physical battle. Yeah, it does. I definitely have the reach advantage anyway. Although I'd say you're a wily fighter. Right, Tony Griffin with a big send down the inside, and then get tags from behind from Conor Mealy as well. And somehow all 3 drivers managed to make it through unscathed. That's Brandon under a bit of pressure and going out wide. He's opened the door now again for the Kerry native to go down the inside, and Tony with a slightly half-hearted attempt, which are usually the ones that ends up in disaster, but thankfully they get through. Oh, that's Sean McClements. McClements has gone around. I'm not sure whether that was cause or effect, but now this group are closing it on McClements, and he's closing the door on Brandon McGowan, and it's all gotten a bit chaotic here as we get towards the line.
Yes, and they're going to be side by side for the final few corners, are they? No, I think Sean's still going to get away with being on the podium here. We'll have to have another replay of that once we get to the checkered flag. Brandon McGowan, big lunge down the inside, block pass. McClement sells him the dream, and he's just going to have to run to the line here. I think Tony Griffin may well give him a push, and yet the TDR man is ahead, and he will take the checkered flag in front of Brandon McGowan. But, Brandon McGowan's a raw racer at heart, because that was a lunge and a half down the inside to try and stand on the rostrum. But it will be Dylan McClements who takes the win. Travis Mawhinney in second, Sean in third. But let's have a look at our gantry TV replay to see what happened here. And was there a nudge?
I wonder was there contact here? McClements, and I think we're going to see Travis try and move down the inside. McClements already in defensive mode. He's kind of parked in the middle of the track, and then he comes across, and it's, it's last lap of a race. And if you're not going to close the door entirely, then you can't not expect the guy who's behind you to send it. I mean, I actually think that's on Sean McClements, that one. I
think he slightly moved under the braking.
I did. I think he just didn't get across enough. And then I think he was afraid that if he got across too early to get the up and under, but he didn't come across enough. And then he was trying to close the door last minute. So, yeah, I think a racing instant, as Johnny says, 6-1. Absolutely think a bit of a racing instant, but I definitely don't think you could put that on Travis Mawhinney. Like, he's signaled his intention. He's trying to go down the inside, and Sean is parked in the middle of the track and then tried to come across. So I think Sean coming a cropper of his own undoing there, and I suspect the stewards will leave that one go.
Yeah, that's if it is even reported. May need to take a look at the telemetry as well, see was there a steering input from Sean under the braking, or was Travis steering into him or something to whip him around. We'll have a look here and see. So Sean gets a little bit out of shape here, and now he's coming up. So he's already made a move there and half covered off. Then sees Travis still goes for that. You can see Travis in the mirrors. Yeah, I'm afraid, Sean, that one's on you.
Yeah, totally. 2 separate movements there. The first initial movement, and then tries to turn into the corner. And I think he was hoping that Travis would back out of it. But unfortunately for him, that didn't happen. And no, look, he didn't lose any major places, obviously, apart from the one to Travis. But yeah, that was a good bit of a fight there at the end. A bit of excitement as to what was an otherwise fairly dull opening heat that Dylan McClements once again takes.
Yeah, Dylan McClements wins ahead of Travis Mawhinney. Sean McClements in third. Still did pretty well to not lose the head there and still end up on the podium. Could have been much worse. Brandon McGowan in fourth. Tony Griffin in fifth. Connor in sixth. And Ryan Johnson in seventh. Lee Cogan in 8th, Peter McCann in 9th, and Johnny Reid coming home in the top 10. And it was Bicky, Eric Killeen in 11th, Quaveen Brennan in 12th, and Graham Walpole, Sean McGoldrick, Ken Doyle, Adam Dowling, Kevin Joyce, Cathal Corkin, who braved it out on the slicks, and two non-finishers in the form of Sam O'Reilly and Ronan Keane. Bit more of a mixed bag this time round, Kevin. Dylan and Travis and Sean all on the wets. Brandon and Tony have gone for the slick tyres, as well as Ryan Johnson and Lee Cogan. So this could get very tasty down towards the first corner. It is Dylan McClements on the outside of the front row and Travis Mawhinney on the inside as we go racing, and no grid from Johnny Reid, so he won't take part in this, or he's on the pit exit actually, as Dylan gets a great getaway. Sean pipping Travis Mawhinney, Tony Griffin and Brandon getting away okay, and the slick tyres certainly a lot better this time round than they were in Heat 1.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely, and it just seems like there's a bit more grip there now. Whether it'll start to rain over the course of this race, I'm not sure, but that's good battling between Sean McClements and Mawhinney, and it looks like McClements has got the job done there. He's gone around the outside, and he's got the position. That's a superb move from Sean McClements, and makes up for that mistake on the last race straight away, back into second position. That is a superb move from the 13. Chapeau, Sean McClements.
Yeah, and if it doesn't start raining in this race, then Tony Griffin and Brandon McGaughan are in prime position because the slick tyres look very good. And Tony Griffin is alongside the second place man from the opening heat, Travis Mawhinney, into the braking zone, as Tony could run it a little bit long here and gets very, very close to the rear bumper of the number 13 of Sean McClements as they're down side by side in towards the left-hander. Travis Mawhinney still on the inside. That's Ryan Johnson who we're seeing going for a move. O'Connor Mealy, he's another slick tyre runner, as there's a couple gone round, I think, in the background. Quaveen Brennan losing a position, but it's a good start as well from Kevin Joyce. And there we go, there's the carnage in the background. McCann has gone round. I think everyone else still pointing in a straight line, and Peter will get going once again on the wet tyres.
Yeah, for the moment that may not last. I'll have to see what is involving there. Is that Cathal Corkin at the front of that pack? I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, definitely contact at some point, whether that was the cause or whether that was just one of the consequences. Not entirely sure, but Sean McClements has held on to that second position. A superb move around the outside for him on Travis Mawhinney. We didn't really get to see it in the way that the track was shaped. Oh, big contact. Oh, that's Ken Doyle and Lee Cogan. Ken sending Lee around and then slamming into the barrier himself. And once again, the Ling Motorsport hitting a concrete wall in this one. It's been a day to forget, an evening to forget for Ken Doyle, who takes up a meatball and will now have to head back to the pits. Great setup by Jordan here, by the way. Like, there's a bit I think there's a bit in this for everyone, and I will just see what the weather has to do. There's the rain, Evan. It's coming down now. It's not absolutely hosing it down, but it's still raining nonetheless. So it remains to be seen whether Brandon and Tony can get this done, because it looks like there's a clearance in the distance. So this is very much anyone's race.
Yeah, we don't have weather radars here in the Gantry TV booth, but it is saying partly cloudy on our weather report. And here is Tony Griffin looking for the move on Travis Mawhinney. And Mawhinney's got to run him long, and there's a little bit of contact in the corner, and even McClements has been slightly clipped and missed of that. But Tony Griffin has driven straight round the outside of him, and he's almost had a lunge on the second place man as well. That's killed his momentum a little bit. And Mawhinney, it's going to take some bravery to hold it around the outside here on the marbles, but he's gone for it, and Griffin goes round. And it's a piece of class by Mawhinney at the same time as misfortune for Tony Griffin. It's all sorts of chaos in the mixed tyre race here in Okayama. This is Melia, and that is McCaughan, the leading slick tyre runner now, and that's a real shame for Tony Griffin, who was running well.
Yeah, I think probably a little bit of ambition over adhesion there, as Martin Brundle would say, for Tony, trying to get the move done. But you got to remember, like, 15-minute race, and with the conditions changing, you just got to, I think this is one of those races you do have to be a little bit more patient. You can't force the issue, because even if you do that now, you might find yourself in a position where you're trying to hold people off by the end, and you end up being very vulnerable then to an attack that can end your race. So I think you've just got to try and see how it plays out. Like, there's a little bit of sunshine, there's also a little bit of a sprinkling of rain. So I think at the moment, until you get to the last couple of laps and you have a very good idea of what you have under you, you have to be a little bit more cautious. Ken Doyle goes into the pit lane. Sam O'Reilly has to slow down, as well as that's an alternative line from Ryan Evan Johnson around the outside. Manages to hold on to it, but unfortunately for him, loses out to Eric Killeen. Travis Mawhinney and Brandon McGaughan continuing their cartoon-based rivalry. That's Sean McGoldrick. He's gone into the barrier. Mr. Sparkle is having a disaster on his home race. And yeah, there's not going to be was clean up in aisle 4 there for the dishwasher tablet company. Anyway, let's see if I have a look. No, it is dishwasher tablets. Yeah, Sean McGoldrick. Is that Colin Corker behind him
Yeah, this
getting
call.
slightly out of shape, and then Sean all by himself
Oh,
dips a right
very
tire
unlucky.
one way and the other way, and he actually keeps it out of the barrier. In fairness to him, Sean, so it could have been a lot worse for Sean McGoldrick. So he lives to fight another day, and there may still be chances in this race given the amount of carnage you've seen already.
Yeah, Travis went around the outside of Tony Griffith. He's now trying to go around the outside of Sean McClements, and now crucially has the inside line. And we know from watching Travis Mawhinney, he certainly doesn't back out of overtakes. It is his grit and determination that has given him a name in RTA Virtual Motorsport, and he's down the inside now of Sean, and he has made that move stick. Brilliant racing from the young man. Brandon McGaughan is now right on the tail as well on the slick tyres, and you can see slicks and wets absolutely identical as we are 3 wide down towards the first corner. Very close indeed. Sean backs out, the smart decision, as Travis runs it around the long way. And Sean McClements has got underneath McGaughan. Oh, that's very, very smart, very clever, and not too sure where the grip came from. Travis Mawhinney fell down to 6th, got a little bit too ambitious out on the marbles. You can see all the debris off the racing line here on the circuit in Okayama. We need to get a few sweepers on in between the heats. Here comes McGaughan though on the slicks. Last of the late breakers in towards the hairpin. There's a slight little puddle on the inside, and McClements for the 3rd time is going to get underneath Brandon McGaughan, and that is another beautiful switchback by the number 13. But Brandon has the slipstream all the way down to the hairpin.
Yeah, that's just absolutely outstanding racing. I was going to say that Brandon had channeled his inner Harry Maguire by marking the wrong man and leaving somebody completely unmarked in the inside to slip in and take the position, but then fought back superbly. And even halfway through the Atwood curve, I thought that he had it lost. Oh, that's Eric with a contact on Travis Mawhinney, who's dropped down a little bit as Travis in amongst all that moving and shaking. But I thought that Sean had that position taken, and then Brandon came back, and now it seems that Brandon has made a mistake, and he's oh no, sorry, of wrong McClements is still in way out in front. But I thought that Brandon had lost that corner, but it fought back brilliantly through the middle section, and now goes ahead of Sean McClements once again. So we're about a third of the way into this middle race, and it has been a really entertaining one right up and down the grid. And you can see now this battle for 7th position, should I say, as Kevin Joyce tries to do a bit of a his namesake Kevin Estray on the grass, dipping 2 tyres on the left-hand side, but can't get around Colin Corkin. And unfortunately, the Colonel will have to bide his time. Will he, though, Kevin Joyce? He's using those wipers for extra aerodynamic purposes, a bit like a torn-off Saw Doctor's t-shirt, and tries to get past Colin Corkin. If you know the reference, you know the reference. And Kevin Joyce getting that position. Great move from the number 6.
No notes. Good move. Kevin Joyce to get ahead of Cathal Corkin. The irony with Brandon McGaughan's pace is he's 2 seconds a lap slower than Tony Griffin, who's just put in fastest lap and then another fastest lap after it. No, sorry, Johnny Reid's actually just beaten the fastest lap. It was Tony, but it's Johnny Reid who's just hit the fastest lap. So the slick tyre is definitely the choice now, and Brandon has caught a second on Dylan McClellan since he overtook his younger brother. Now, this is a test for the championship leader. He's on the wrong tyres. Can he keep Brandon behind? Can he make life very difficult? It doesn't look like it, and Brandon has gone clean around the outside, now parks it in the middle of the corner, and that is why one of the finer talents on the island is doing what he does best here in RTA tonight. He's ahead into the race lead, and I imagine Brandon is going to drive away into the distance. Yeah, it's very rare that slicks this season have been the best tyre choice, but this race, absolutely correct.
Yeah, and Colin Corkin is on wet. Poor Colin. Oh man, I'm telling you, well, I won't say what I was going to say, but yeah, Brandon, look, well ahead.
For Cathal, if it rains soup, God would give him a fork.
Yeah, there's a whole range of phrases you could use for that one. Yeah, but yeah, it's yeah, Brandon really making the benefit of that dry tyre now. And there's, as we said, a half and half grid. Ryan Evan Johnson's the next one on the dry tyre. He's putting pressure on Derek Killeen. But again, there are still little bits of wet track going round. This is Johnny Reid. He's one of those on a dry tyre. He's trying to put pressure on Colin Corkin, who's on wet tyre. And I don't know, wet or dry, whether you get as much grip on that gravel as you do on the tarmac here at Okayama, but plenty of it being sprayed around the place like a links golf course. About the sand that's being sprayed all over the place here. But yeah, Kyle Corkin unfortunately going off there. But yeah, the dry tyre is definitely going to come into this. We still have over 5 minutes left as well, which will equal, I'd say, about 3 or 4 more laps. So for the guys on the dry tyres, there's huge opportunities there. You can see Ryan Evan-Johnson there in the blue and chrome livery in the background, and he will be fancying his chances. But this man, Brandon, he took the gamble of the dry tyre, and sometimes in order to really to dethrone the prodigy, you have to do something different, and Brandon's making that work from now 2.2 seconds down the road, and that gap ever increasing.
Yeah, I know it's a bit ironic given you were slacking me about karting, but as they would say in the karting world, if you're unsure on the tyre compound, you always go for the slicks. I imagine that's what Brandon's gone for here. He was unsure, so he leaned on the slicks, and that's been the correct decision. I'm surprised to see the likes of Dylan and Sean gone for the wets, but I suppose when you're on the front row or near the front row, you've got to go for the safe option. If you're a little bit further back, you can take a gamble. You're not going to lose as much. And to be fair, Brandon is just going for race wins. He's not in this for a championship. Second and third is not exactly a write-off for Dylan and Sean, as Bicky is now defending from Ryan Johnson, who is sliding the rear out of the last corner. He's on the dries. Eric Colleen is on the wets. The track is absolutely slick now. And those on the wet tyres will be hanging on for dear life as Ryan Evan-Johnson lunges it down the inside. Wasn't quite close enough there. Bicky just has enough grip to hang it around the outside, and this is inviting Kevin Joyce into the fight. So if Kevin Joyce could get ahead on Ryan Johnson, they're on equal footing, and he might be able to charge up through the field. But Ryan Johnson has managed to get on the inside of Bicky, who is definitely struggling for grip. His wet tyres will definitely be overheating, and Kevin Joyce is looking to sneak through as well, not for the first time tonight. Around the outside of the hairpin, this is brave from Kevin, as it is very dirty off the racing line there. But Kevin Joyce has enough grip, has managed to hang it around the outside, and that is an excellent move by the number 6.
Yeah, superb move altogether. Some absolutely fabulous sends in this race, and that is one of the things that I suppose Dylan is so far ahead in this championship, and Harvey Dara not racing this evening, that pretty much everybody else in this race is just going for gold now. They don't really care about the rest of the championship. They know Dylan has it won, so now it's a case of just trying to have as much fun and make as many sends as possible. And if it doesn't work out, then so be it. It doesn't make a big difference to your championship standings anyway, which does make for that more edge of the seat racing, which we do love, and some superb overtaking moves, particularly in this middle race. And when you consider the varying conditions as well, even more impressive.
Yeah, Ryan Johnson, it's like a hypercar overtaking the GT3s now, but it's gone wrong there for him. So Kevin Joyce, his fellow hypercar, so to speak, is on the inside, and they're now side by side for the flat-out right-hander, and in towards the final corner now. Kevin Joyce is on the inside. Kevin Joyce is now the lead slick runner here. He had the fastest lap on the last lap. I can't imagine he'll take it this one because they've been battling, but as they weave their way down this straight, Ryan Johnson is not making as much progress as maybe he would like here. Travis Mawhinney is the next rival. Kevin Joyce dives down the inside. Mawhinney turns in nonetheless. Little bit of door-to-door contact. Joyce runs him round and runs him wide to the curb. And now Mawhinney and Johnson side by side, the two youngsters. And Kevin Joyce using his sim racing experience very nicely there to cut through. He's now on the outside of Amelia, and I imagine he'll breeze by in a similar move to what he did on the last lap on Bicky.
Yeah, well, he's certainly going to be trying to line that up, and let's see what happens here. He's gone round the outside. Kevin's got the move done. Oh, Conor Mealy's gone very wide, and he's shoved Ryan Evan-Johnson into the gravel, and that allows everybody else to pass him. That's so frustrating for the number 410, because he knows he has the pace of these guys, but now he's going to be stuck behind a load of guys on wet tyres as Kevin Joyce sails off into the sunset. Travis Mawhinney desperately trying to get as much wetness into his wet tyres as he can. You can see he's trying to find the bottles down the inside there. Goes deep into the corner. That allows Johnny Reid to overtake. Kevin Joyce has come back across. They're going too wide here through the middle section. This is not a part of the course we could really go too wide that easily, but they manage it, and they all follow back into line. And as it stands, Johnny Reid's made a place up, but Kevin Joyce has done what he needs to do. He is head of the pack, and he is going to be in a great position now to finish in the top 5 in this one.
Yeah, I'm liking this aggressive racing from Kevin Joyce. It's a different side to him, and it's very entertaining. Tony Griffin is back in amongst the fight. We've one lap left here, and fourth all the way down to 10th is separated by mere tenths. And Tony Griffin now side by side with Mawini. Ryan Johnson and Melia side by side as well, and Conor Melia with a very NASCAR-esque move to dump him off the circuit when they were side by side. Tony Griffin's got a slowdown for that one, though. He cut the inside of the second final corner, so he's going to have to try serve that. He has served that. He's done an excellent job at serving that down the main straight. Mawini and Johnson on the inside. It is Griffin and Mealy on the outside. Tony Griffin's run way too far. He's run way too wide. He's had a tank slapper, but he saved it nicely. Now it's Johnson and Mawini still side by side. Ryan Johnson drives around the outside. He's finally ahead of the train that he so badly wanted to cut through. But while that's happening, Kevin Joyce and Johnny Reid are fighting for fourth place up the road into the hairpin. Johnny Reid breaks a lot later. Kevin Joyce looking for the switchback. He'll have the slipstream in towards the hairpin. Melia makes a mistake, runs very wide. Hip check for Killeen, but Griffin has got a drive through.
Yeah, Griffin has a drive through. That is a disaster for Tony Griffin. He's pulled off and pulled up there, and these two boys now have started to battle. So Dylan has fallen into the clutches of his brother Sean, as both of the wet weather brothers try and make their wet tyres last through this final sector. Johnny Reid a good bit down the road, and he's overtaken Kevin Joyce, who decides discretion is the better part of valour and leaves him through. But Ryan Evan Johnson managing to make his way through that gaggle of cars. He'll finish in 6th position, but he will feel that move earlier on in the race really put him out of the opportunity to get a better result. And funnily enough, the last two drivers on the grid are on dry tyres, but it's this man on dry tyres, Brandon McGahan, who took the risk, but not only took the risk, made it count as he crosses the line here to take his first win of the season here in the GR86 Cup 2026. And finally, we don't have McClements standing on the top row of the grid.
Yeah, it's still a Maxi from Antrim, so it's about as close as you'll get. And it's McGahan, McClements on the podium. Johnny Reid and Kevin Joyce 4th and 5th. But what an entertaining spectacle that was from Kevin Joyce's perspective. And I imagine he loved every second of that, all elbows out. Now we are looking at the wooden spoon fight between Ken Doyle and Peter McCann. What an entertaining race. What a contrast from the first heat.
Yeah, unbelievable. First heat, it was like we carried the momentum from the end of the first heat into this race, because first heat was really very quiet, almost dead, and then all of a sudden it kind of sprang into life in the last lap, and those guys have taken that forwards. And you know what? We've got 2 evenings to go after this. Dylan is comfortably on top of the championship. Why not go out and have a good ding-dong battle? Why bother trying to be conservative? And Kevin Joyce absolutely with the right idea there. Go out, be aggressive, give it a go. There's nothing else on the line. You're not going to ruin anybody's championship, so go out and enjoy it. And that's what we saw. Peter McCann getting the better of Ken Doyle in that one, and at least that's something for Peter McCann, who was caught out in that instant earlier on in the race.
Yeah, highest I rating on the grid goes to Peter McCann, 5,400, and a 17th place that I can't imagine he'll be too happy with. But he was having some monitor issues the start of the evening, so a nice turnaround there. Brandon McGahan, your race winner. Had Dylan McClements in 2nd, Sean McClements in 3rd, then Johnny Reid, Kevin Joyce, Ryan Johnson, Travis Mawini, Eric Killeen, Lee Cogan, Conor Melia, Sean McGolda, Cathal Corkin, Graham Walpole, Sam O'Reilly, Queeveen Brennan, Adam Dowling, Peter McCann, Ken Doyle, and then non-finishes from Tony Griffin and Ronan Keane. Let's hear from your race winner, Brandon McGahan. Brandon, congratulations. A little bit different tonight here in Okayama than Spa, but you went for the slicks. Correct choice in the end, but what made you go for them?
Just decided to have a crack at it. You know, you could see a dry line coming at the end of that last race, and it was more it being a 15-minute race made me choose to go on the slicks. I knew it would be tricky at the start. It was brave and tricky at the start with the wet patches, but eventually it dried out enough to go up the road.
Yeah, you had some great battles cutting through the field. Was it just a case of you got more confident on the slicks as the time went on, or do you think the wet tyres just fell off a cliff?
I'd say more the track dried out. Well, I'd say towards the end the wets fell off big time, but for the first, kind of 3 or 4 laps, there was wet patches in really, inconvenient places, like on the apex, and like there'd be wet patches right across the track, so they're kind of unavoidable. it was, I'd say the first 2 or 3 laps, like it was fairly even. You know, we'd be a bit quicker, but we'd always hit a patch and run out wide or something along those lines. So, actually, man, it was pretty good crack. It was good crack till I got to the front. You know, it was pretty interesting having the different strengths and different corners.
Starting 8th in Heat 3, you went from 8th to a podium in Spa at the weekend. Are you going for a little bit more than P3 this time round?
Fingers crossed.
Brandon, best of luck in Heat 3.
Cheers.
Now, I think our second place man has left us, so we'll skip on to third place, and Sean McClement's joining Kevin.
Well, we know this man would never turn down the opportunity to have an interview. Sean McClements, third place, some really good battling, particularly at the beginning. A lovely move there with our eventual race winner, but I think the wet tires just ran out on you in the end.
Yeah, wet tires they weren't the right choice, but I've been caught out too many times going on the dry, so I thought I'm not getting caught out this time. Well, that lasted long anyway for winning laps, but here that was good crack. Done the same move in Brandon in the first race, the last lap after I got hit. And then I got both the lads down the inside at turn 1 as well, Travis and Brandon a couple of laps before that, so it was a good bit of battle and stuff, but there's not much you can do when they drive away down the straights and have the right tires on, like.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it was anyone's guess there at the beginning, but I think championships, because of the fact that Dylan's so far ahead, we were saying that people are a little bit more like, just give it a bit of crack and, you know, whatever. If we crash out or if we crash somebody else out, it doesn't matter. We all know Dylan's going to win this championship anyway.
See, I've been saying this for weeks, lads, but you and Evan's trying to squeeze information out of me that I don't have, like.
Almost like it's our job.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
Well,
I didn't have the background, but
the fact that you're saying we're squeezing information out of you means to say that you do have that information to squeeze out of you. So
I don't know. In the wise words of Peter McCann, he's been squeezing a few lads a night, inside and out, and that's all I'm going to say, folks.
I think we'll leave it at that. Sean, thanks very much. We'll have to make name Peter Squeeze McCann. Right, Sean, thanks very much. Enjoy the final race.
100%, lads.
And if I have a tip for you, it's definitely stay on the dry tires for the last race.
That sounds like a good idea, Kevin.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Sean, thanks very much. Talk to you soon.
Right, good luck. Hey.
Sean McClements, everyone's favourite class clown there, and a very good driver also. I feel like that gets lost in amongst all the hijinks. Sean's actually pretty rapid. Yeah, so I hope Sean takes my advice on board now. I really do.
I don't think so, because it's raining again.
Oh, I was waiting for the reveal. Yeah, that's the reveal. But unfortunately, you got there ahead of me. But that I was hoping that Sean would blindly take my. They're as bad as Ronan Hedeman today, jumping in. So with the can't
Just like me every week.
You can't set up a joke. You can't set up a joke in this place at the moment. Somebody has to jump in and ruin it. Right, warm up begins. It's lashing in the warm up, but does that mean it's going to be lashing in the rain, or is it just?
Yes.
Oh, does it? Because I was going to say if Jordan Kelly could do anything, I would have it absolutely chucking in the warm up, and then have it blindingly roasting in the rain, and just to absolutely mess with people.
I feel like Jordan is just like life's overlord, and like anything that happens in your life, like, is the responsibility of Jordan Kelly's. Like, just based off not to get too deep or anything, but yes, Jordan Kelly is our overlord.
Yeah.
Totally normal thing to say in the middle of a sim racing broadcast, I know, but
well, there could be worse places you could say that. But yeah, we won't give Jordan too much power, to be fair, given his thing. There you go. Look at the bright blue skies that we have now.
Okay, so Jordan is, and there's a cursor beginning with P that I want to say to describe him.
Penis.
No, that's not what I was going to say.
No, I know that's not what you're going to say, but that's the word that you can say on air. That's a substitute for the word you're going to say. Otherwise, you're calling him something that I think is libelous, which I wouldn't go there.
Jordan Kelly doesn't know what libel is. It's fine. We get worse. We get worse every week.
Oh, don't call him that. Right. Eric Killeen leads us off. He was.
Bicky's on pole.
Bicky's on pole. Travis Winnie second. Ryan Evan Johnson third. Kevin Joyce fourth. Johnny Reid fifth. Sean McClellan sixth. Dylan McClellan seventh. And nobody's chosen. I would love if you actually should go slicks. But anyway, let's get going.
As we go racing in Okayama at the final time, great launch from Johnny Reid. Brandon McGaughan, Lee Cogan, drive-throughs. That's Brandon's comeback completed. In the wrong way in terms of it's not happening. Bicky is fired away up the front and he's into the race lead. Travis Mawhinney in second. There's Ryan Johnson and Kevin Joyce reigniting their battle from the second heat, but it is Johnson who wins this time round. And Ken Doyle, 3 of the best for him, but unfortunately it's 3 of the worst. It's 3 spins and he's gone round at the first corner. The two brothers are locked into battle, and Johnny Reid, best start of everyone, but it was also legal. So that was a magnificent reaction time from the videographer, and Sean McClements is side by side with him, and that wasn't great reactions from the man behind him, Brandon McGaughan, and round goes Johnny Reid.
Yeah, Johnny, after... there is Sam O'Reilly arriving on the scene. That's Travis Mawhinney getting ahead of Erkeline, so he must have made a mistake with Bicky, and he's off the pole already as Travis Mawhinney takes top spot. It just... Johnny Reid had a great running with the dry tyres, but I'm not sure whether that was... I think it's just close racing in the pack. It's always very difficult to try and slow down as you see the brakes on. These aren't great, but that is cold comfort to Johnny Reid, who gets sent around there as Kevin Joyce.
Kevin. Very disappointing for Kevin Joyce, who goes around all on his own, and a potential driver of the day candidate maybe. Dropping down the order, and there goes Adam Dowling.
Adam Dowling in his favourite spot. I think Adam spun like every time we've seen him on stream. He spun in that exact same spot this evening. That's a bit of a zinger for Kevin Joyce. That will hurt. And he may be feeling a little bit tender after that one, because could have a great chance to get a driver of the day, but just couldn't get it done. Somebody going into the pits there, that is Lee Cogan gone in. So bit of carnage. Chaos is back, as Campto says, 2 minutes in, and we've already lost quite a few drivers, and some of them actually relevant to this race.
Yeah, if you want to go grab a cup of tea or a drink or some popcorn or whatever, now is the time, because Travis Mawhinney and Ryan Johnson up the front could be a very tasty affair. They're 2 drivers who are young, naive, and have not learned the art of backing out of an overtake yet, so could be a great battle. Sean and Dylan doing very well, working together, probably for the first time tonight, to be fair, and now they're going to try and overtake Bicky. 2 very similar liveries on those 3 cars, as Conor Mealy with his good pace once again trying to catch up. Conor wasn't that much in the second heat, but when everyone was on equal footing on the wet tyres in heat number 1, he was very fast. So keep an eye on Mealy down in 6th place. He's up 4 positions on the race start. Who's your biggest gainer so far, though? That's Tony Griffin, who's up 9.
Yeah, that's a big one for Tony, and we'll be looking to try and continue that form. To be fair to Conor Mealy, he was absolutely murdered at the end of that last race. So,
he was, that's correct.
So that did put him slightly out of it, as Erkeline does a Ronan Nederman and overdoes the drift and sends it straight into the barrier. So indeed, Ronan's place in Formula Drift definitely not secured next season. Sean McClements and Dylan once again pushing each other down the main straight. This is particularly dangerous given the conditions that we have at the moment. But and the rain must either be falling or it's spray. But like, Sean is using his wipers, which tells me that it is actually a little bit of rain falling, unless Sean just decided to use the super pace advantage. Yeah, it's kind of, I can't tell whether it's rain or spray. It may be raining in some parts of the track and not other parts, because the wipers are going, Evan, from time to time, and maybe this track will get more and more wet as we get further into this race.
Potentially. Official report at the moment is cloudy. It could just be the spray, although Sean a second and a half back from Ryan Johnson. Brandon comes in to serve his drive-through just on the beverage conversation. Johnny enjoying us with a nice Jameson ginger ale and lime, very nice indeed. Being spoiled in Wicklow, as the 2 brothers, what do they do here? Do they start battling, or is it get the head down and charge up the road? Conor is not losing pace with them. Ryan Johnson's at the fastest lap on the last lap, as I don't think Dylan fancies working with Sean here. I think he's going to look for the move into the hairpin.
Yep, I think he's going to try and get something done here anyway, because it's gone a little bit stale at the moment. We're 4 minutes in, and I suppose, look, this is one of those races, given the 20 minutes, that you can get an opportunity. But if you've had a bad evening thus far, like the likes of Sean McGoldrick, as you can see in the background, has had a fairly forgettable evening by his own standards this evening, as Dylan, he's opening the door on his brother Sean, and they're going, bit of contact there between the brothers. So I reckon no holds barred now between these two. I reckon championship's over. Dylan has it in the bag, and no, but there's no more Mr. Nice Guy from either of them. As Kyle Corkin, how he managed to save that, I do not know, but he managed to save it. And Peter McCann is so impressed he decides to go off the track slightly and hand the position to Tony Griffin. So super work there, not only with saving it, Kyle Corkin, but also with the mind games on Peter McCann. So good work there.
Yeah, Kyle's coming for Ronan Herman's Formula Drift seat, certainly, as Tony Griffin is up to 8th place. That's now 11 positions gained. It's such a shame that Tony had that incident and fell down the order in Heat 2. It's a real case of what could have been. His pace has been exceptional here tonight. So the two McClemens brothers are looking to go battling once again, and very similar lap times on the last lap. I imagine it'll be very similar on this lap as well, as Sean, now the leader of the two, and he is looking to charge on and catch Ryan Johnson. And remarkably, for the first time this season, these two are being outpaced. Travis and Ryan are pulling away.
Yeah, very interestingly, despite the fact that they're slightly working, well, I was going to say they're working together, but they're not really, to be fair. They're kind of taking each other on, so that's probably why they're falling back along the line for that move. Dylan getting very racy with Sean in the last lap and almost causing an inter-brother accident, the likes of which we have never seen, I don't think, on RTA, but yeah, it's going to have to happen at some point. They do tend to share the same space of tarmac more often than not. Speaking of great liveried cars, unfortunately, Brandon McGahan has had to go into the pits with a black flag, so that is the end of Brandon's race. Also, anybody in the chat, if there's any driver that you particularly don't like, then feel free to vote from now for Driver of the Day and put the curse on them. Driver of the Day votes are coming in. So, yeah, just like to invite that for anybody. And if you want to put the kiss of death on somebody, then feel free to do that at any point over the next couple of minutes. Right. Sean McClemens locked in a battle with his brother Dylan. And this is a great advertising for Pedden Security firm.
Shout out Kieran, races supercarts.
It's no earned tiles, but it is good to see the real world stuff making its way into RTA, and these are cars that you are almost guaranteed to have plenty of airtime on this channel as well.
Yeah, if you're going to sponsor anyone, you should probably sponsor these two, to be fair. I do, and Sean still hasn't put the logo on the car, so you mightn't get included. But here they are, side by side, down towards the first corner, as Dylan's looking to... Will he go late in the brakes? No, both braking at the same time, but Dylan has that crucial inside line. They are, despite the battling and the swapping and changing, catching Ryan Johnson in front, but Ryan's momentum has also sort of dulled down a little bit, and Dylan runs it right round the outside. That is very risky for someone leading the championship. These two are very much aware that it is a two-horse race in this series, and if they want to win the championship, they've got to beat each other side by side at the apex. And it is Dylan McClemens on the outside, Sean on the inside, and this is a brilliant battle between the two Dunloy natives. They'll be side by side down towards the hairpin, and as they emerge from underneath the trees, it is Sean who still leads.
And you're starting to sound a bit Sky Sportsy now with all this championship still alive talk. I mean, it's a two-horse race. If one of the horses...
There's a drop round. Remember, Sean has a drop round of 0. Dylan has to drop points.
Yeah, but they're still in it. Oh, I still think Dylan has won so many races this evening or this week. I mean, this probably will be the drop round for Dylan, right? I mean, the fact that he hasn't won anything tonight is his drop round, and I mean, it would take an exceptionally bad next 2 weeks for Dylan McClemens for him not to win the title.
It can happen. It can happen. It's not over until it's mathematically over. Ronan Doherty cut down a 100-point gap to Jason Smith in 3 weeks back in Formula 4 or Formula 3 or some small formula.
Yeah, I just feel like it's a two-horse race.
Ronan didn't win that championship, I should say. They tied on points and Jason won on countback, but pretend I said nothing.
Okay. We got close. Yeah, I remember that season. That was a great season. Yeah, I just feel like it's a two-horse race if one of the horses had 3 legs and had gotten a good shot of ketamine before going into the ring. But anyway, that's just we'll see. Kyle Corkin and Peter McCann. This is very much horses and lame horses. Let's see what happens here. Kyle actually, to be fair to him, had a really good qualifying session. He had some really quick times. Just unfortunately, I think the wrong tyres have caught Cahill out, but he's on the correct tyres for once. So let's see if he can put that pace, because of course we had a very wet qualifying session. So Cahill may be able to show some of that pace. 10 minutes in, 10 minutes left. Driver of the day, do get your comments in if you've want to throw an early one in. You can always change your mind later on if things change, but just interested to hear what people have to say. Yeah, also, what are you drinking? Johnny's drinking, as we said, a Jameson Ginger Ale Lime. Superb, cork drink. Thank you very much, Johnny. I
Good night,
have
Johnny.
nothing. I normally have a glass of water in front of me, but I forgot to bring it up this evening. Evan, are you drinking anything of particular
I had a
interest?
pint glass of my waddy, but it is also gone.
Yeah, you were also an adult. Ronan,
What's wrong with my waddy?
Ronan's losing. Wait, you're giving me grief for not being
What's
an
wrong
adult,
with my
and then you're
waddy?
like, oh, my waddy. A drink specifically marked.
Campbell's drinking apple juice. That's arguably worse.
Yeah, that's way worse. That's way worse, especially if it's out of a box with a straw.
Oh, contact!
Oh, big contact there. Speaking of children and throwing their toys out of the pram, here's Dylan McClemens with a big contact with himself and his brother. And despite all of this messing between these two, they're still catching up Ryan Evan Johnson. And I wonder, does Dylan think he might have a shot at winning this?
I don't think there's ever a race that Dylan doesn't think he has a shot of winning it. Whether he can do it is another thing. Ryan Johnson is not going to bow down to these two, though. This will get messy very quickly. And if Dylan does have aspirations of winning this race, he's got to get his work done very quickly here. And he breaks much later than Ryan Johnson. As the track seemingly gets more wetter, Dylan McClemens will fancy his chances even more. So will Sean. These two won't bow down. And as they accelerate out of turn number 2, the gap stands at 0.7 of a second between Dylan and Ryan, but then 1.6 to Travis. And Travis is driving very, very well. A little bit slower than the two McClemens brothers, but still fast enough to win this race.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this McLaren strategy from Team TDR here, just letting the two drivers duke it out and figure out which one's best, because the team orders is great individually for results, but it is boring as hell to watch. So it's great to see the two of them take each other on, I have to say.
I don't think Papaya rules is a colour really accepted up in their part.
Well, that came out of left field.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
It was.
No,
yeah,
don't boo me.
yeah.
Why are you booing me? I'm right.
Well, Ronan booed him. Ronan booed him. I actually. I mean, I was just unexpected. It was like you dropped a grenade. Oh, maybe that's not the best analogy to use. Anyway, Dylan McClemens.
This is from the man who was making Trump jokes a week after that happened. I was like, oh, that was very sketchy. That was very sketchy. And that's push to pass.
Yeah, we might have a look at that again. If Ronan can collect himself from booing Evan and decide to give us a replay of that one, because that looked very robust on to the extent of bullying. Not bullying tactics. That's not the right word. Bullying isn't the right word. But yeah, definitely, I think over aggressive from Dylan McClemens. But anyway, we'll have a look there. Once Ronan gets up off his behind and gets that replay first. I knew he was going to get annoyed. He's so annoyed. Let's have a look to see what happens here between these two, because that's very interesting. And Sean now, I think Sean's going to have a go as well off Ryan Evan Johnson. So he's stuck between a bit of a McClemens sandwich, which is not where you want to be. I was going
into the hairpin here.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see it happening. If not this one, definitely the next one. Camp just says, in the words of Kevin Joyce, I disagree. Question is it from Concentrate or is it the real stuff? Anyway, we'll come back to that. Let's have a look at the replay. I'll wait for Campton to come back to me in that. Dylan McClemens, let's see now, with a counter steering. And it's actually Ryan gets the better jump off that corner. And... Oh, there's if car gap. Burton Senna. Yeah. Not great from Dylan. I think if Ryan decides to protest it, he may not bother. But if he decides to protest it, I suspect
he definitely will.
Yeah, well, yeah. The stewards are going to have a look at that. And Dylan, whatever about not winning races, you certainly don't want to be picking up penalties.
Now, Kevin, you mentioned a very interesting thing about drop rounds earlier. This, if Dylan gets a penalty, cannot be his drop round.
Right, I didn't know that was a rule. Very good. So that's going to put the real onus on Dylan to try. No, he's had some pretty good results. I mean, where's he finished? The podium the last 2 races in a row, so it hasn't been a shocker of an evening for him, for Dylan. But his brother's been right there with him, and he's just overtaken Ryan, much cleaner, it must be said, into third position. Evan Dalton, I don't know, had you mentioned this before, but we may have a title race on our hands.
Look who came crawling back, as Ryan Johnson is trying it on the outside here, and this is a very risky move, and this one may not work out. And these two have been having little jabs at each other during the week. Will there be a couple of jabs on the circuit? No, it was all squeaky clean, but Sean will look for his traditional switchback that he's come to love here at Okayama, and you can literally see the roll cage of Ryan Johnson's car from Sean McClements is on board as they head down towards the hairpin. Is it going to be another bump and run from the Team TDR member? No, he goes for the outside. Is he hoping Ryan Johnson outbreaks himself in the puddles? No, he doesn't. It was perfect. Ryan Johnson wants a snap, and there's contact, and into the wall goes Johnson, and Sean just about gets out of that one. He would have hammered down on those brakes, and Ryan is off the podium, unfortunately, and down to 9th.
Yeah, I'm going to have a look at that one again, but I don't know if Ryan can go to the stewards about that one. Looks like he just had a snap that sent him right across the front of Sean McClements. Let's see if there was contact involved in that, or whether Ryan just got a little bit too close to that inside curb and lost his GR86 here. So let's have a look here. Sean right off the bumper goes for the outside line. Ryan has the inside covered. And
Ryan loses it.
Loses it himself. Can't have any complaints there, can Ryan? He loses it, snaps back the other way in an attempt to rescue the spin, and then goes right across the front of Sean McClements. Now, hopefully, Sean doesn't have any major damage there, but unfortunately for Ryan, that is completely of his own taking, and he can go to the stewards about Dylan, but he certainly can't go to the stewards about his older brother.
Yeah, Sean, very, very lucky there to get out of that one, because very easily your car can just, in typical iRacing physics fashion, just connect onto the side and go into the wall with the driver spinning. But no, Sean lucky to get out of that, but he is under pressure from Conor Mealy now, so the battle doesn't end for Sean McClements. 2.5 up the front between Travis Mooney and Dylan McClements, and crucially, McClements not catching his fellow youngster. He has a little bit in the first sector, but not to the amount that he would want. There's not many laps left in this race either if Dylan wants to try and win it. But look, it's the Rainmeister once again, Travis Mooney, who's out on top.
Yep. Travis, he was quick in the qualifying, and we were kind of bigging him up a little bit, and then just didn't quite work out the first couple of races. But all that contact and shenanigans has definitely put him in good stead. And I see a couple of people want Travis to lose that lead, namely Jordan Kelly, Johnny Hollywood, and Campto, who have all named him as their driver of the day, and with 2 minutes to go. So let's see if that puts the kiss of death on the number 8 car, or can he speed off into the sunset, because he's had a good. He's had a good evening, Travis. He kind of went under the radar a little bit because we expect him. I always expect Travis to be kind of quick given his karting pedigree, but as we've seen in this even in this championship, that doesn't necessarily always make for that as well. Geraldine says Kevin, driver of the day. Thanks, Geraldine. You're very good, but I wasn't on track. No, I know she's talking about Kevin Joyce. But yeah, Travis has been really up and around there for pretty much the entirety of this evening, and apart from a couple of unfortunate kind of contacts, has been really, really solid. And yeah, I think he's going to get all set to get the what I was going to say, the reward. This is the other driver of the day candidate, Kevin Joyce, who was very quick on dry tyres and had an excellent second race, but unfortunately a mistake in this race has seen him go back out of the top 5, and there's Sean McGoldrick finishing what was a very disappointing evening for him, Sean. Just too many mistakes and incidents and errors and etc. etc. Unfortunately, has seen him out of the running, but this could be a good battle going into the final lap.
It could very much be, and Kevin and Ryan back reunited once again in the fight for 8th and 9th. And Ryan, very disappointing that he's not in the podium fight, because his pace definitely showed that he should be. But despite the good pace, Travis just remained so calm out the front, and it's been a real mature drive from Travis here. He didn't get flustered at any point, and he's pulling his gap to Dylan McClements, and it just seems like when it rains, the success pours for Travis Mooney, an exceptional driver in wet conditions, very Jenson Button-esque, it seems. here is Peter McCann and Cathal Corkin. And Peter, great fight back from Peter. He was 17th in Heat 2 and we were all slagging him, but he's fought back up to 6th position. Tony Griffin has had a great race as well. But it could all end here because he's fighting with Cathal Corkin. And we know these two are certainly all elbows out when going wheel to wheel. And you can see they get so close to each other in towards the hairpin. Cathal Corkin's looking to go clean round the outside. Little bit of door-to-door contact between the two, but Cathal is well within his rights to Peter. Nudge, block pass. Corkin is through, and Peter McCann is left with his tail between his legs.
Yeah, and Carl, who's running the weather for Ducks livery, which we hadn't mentioned on stream up to this point, shaking his tail feathers in delight as he gets past. And I'm glad we got to have a look at that because obviously it's a special edition for this evening. And a little bit of a nod to Jordan Kelly as well. So good stuff there from Carl as well with delivery. But into 6th position for him. I think that's on the limit, but I think it's okay. He was first into that corner, so I think on the limit. But this man, Travis Mawhinney, plenty of nominations for driver of the day, and he finishes first across the line, and you can see, Evan, just how much he enjoyed that one.
Yeah, exceptional win from Travis. Hats off. It's one of the first times this season where both the McClemens brothers have just been royally beaten on pace on equal terms. Dylan comes home second, Sean in third. It's more podiums for them. Conor Melia with a very valiant fourth, and Tony Griffin in fifth. Cathal Corkin sixth, McCann seventh. And there, unfortunately for Ryan Johnson, we see we end the evening as we started it with Ken, unfortunately, in the wall.
Yeah, Ken seeing more concrete than your average council worker this evening, unfortunately, and comes around the last corner, fine. Yeah, well, okay, well, I don't know what the Kildare County Council are like, but we have so little work done in Cork that we need 2 councils to cover our county. Right, Ken getting across the line.
Few potholes on the one
Eric
road.
Lee, oh God, Ken, no need for that. And there's in the true Japanese style, really, a few guys committing kamikaze there at the end. As we finish off here our feature race with Travis Mawhinney, the winner, and we'll go through our final results before we get to the interviews, as I finally get that one right.
Travis Mawhinney, your winner. Dylan McClemens in second, followed by Sean. And Conor Melia in fourth. Tony Griffin in fifth. Cathal Corkin in sixth. Peter McCann in seventh. And Kevin Joyce, Sean McGoldrick, Ryan Evan Johnson, Johnny Reid, Lee Cogan, Quivian Brennan, Ken Doyle, Eric Killeen, Graham Walpole. Unfortunately, no finishes for Sam O'Reilly, Adam Dowling, Brandon McGohan, and Ronan Keane. Unfortunately, people not too eager to join us this evening. The only one waiting in the interview room is Dylan, so I suppose we may as well start with the second place runner, who will be joining us now. Dylan, congratulations. Second, not the win tonight, but a bit of contact with Ryan Johnson. Talk us through that.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite hard to get by Sean. For some reason, he wasn't working with me, so that's what put the win out the window. With Brian Evan Johnson, I think he sort of turned in as soon as I seen me go for the switchback.
Still a decent evening for you, though. Championship lead still firmly intact. What's the plan for the final 2 rounds?
Win as much as possible, to be honest. Like, this is probably not my best races, but we'll get back up to the top.
Then heading into the final 2 rounds, I know we head to Sebring and the other circuit being Oran Park. 2 tracks that suit you?
Yeah, probably, but the only thing is they're quite long tracks and quite long straights, so we'll just have to see how it goes.
Well, Dylan, congratulations to tonight once again, and look, there's no doubt we'll be talking to you before the end of the season.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So, good to hear from Dylan there. That was definitely a jab, by the way, wasn't it, Kevin? But good to hear from the championship leader. Our race winner is now joining us, so Kevin, I will give you the honours of chatting to Travis Mawhinney.
Nice to be speaking to a race winner for a change. Usually Evan gets that honour, and Travis, delighted to be speaking to you because you showed really great pace, obviously up there around qualifying, and it was real nip and tuck, a lot of contact in the first couple of races. Obviously yourself and Dylan and Sean getting your elbows out as well. But you got across the line, and this is the first time we were saying that we've genuinely seen Dylan being beaten on pace in similar conditions.
Yeah, it feels great. I'm very glad. I haven't won a race in a while. So to have that sort of pace against Dylan for the remainder of race 3, it's a really good sign for me, because the past few rounds they were very unlucky. So they were wheel disconnect and get involved with other people. So this race weekend has been a very good point. So there is. Race 1, you're right, I have a bit of a tag with Sean, which is completely on me. I thought I have a wee peek in there, but it hasn't really entirely worked out. Race 2, the first part of the race was fine, but as soon as the track was dry, it was starting to lose grip quite a bit, and it left me with a bit of a pickle as well as all the other drivers. But race 3 sort of switched things around for me, so I'm very happy.
Yeah, you look like you really enjoyed that one as well. You were shaking your tail feathers there going across the line. So it seems like there's probably a bit of relief and just a real kind of sense of just I suppose you really get a good enjoyment of it when you kind of that period where you don't get a race win.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, again, haven't won this season in a while. It's been a few months since I last had a win in RTA, and to have that sort of wet pace and just sort of sliding around this wee bits of rotation and slip angle involved, it feels really good, I must say.
Brilliant. And Travis, congratulations not only on your final win of this evening, but you've also won our Gadget TV Driver of the Day. So Travis Mawhinney, our Gadget TV Driver of the Day for round 6 of the GR86, or round 5, should I say, of the GR86 Cup. Congratulations, round 6.
Nice, thank you very much.
I'll learn how to count, and I'm gonna go in, learn my numbers, and that'll give Evan an opportunity to talk to Sean McClements, and I'm interested to see what Sean will make of Dylan's comments about the lack of cooperation in the last race.
Yeah, Sean, congratulations on the podium. Great battles throughout the evening from you. You really kind of didn't get a chance to breathe, but all may not be rosy at the family dinner. You took it to Dylan, and he says that cost his chance at the win.
Might have done, like, but so that stage now, Dylan, the many championships has Dylan won, and I've helped him way. Like, you know, it's about time that Dylan's got enough skill and stuff now. It's about time I sort of make a bit of a challenge for him. Like, you know, it's the only real championship I've kind of been in the contentions for, and all it could take is a bad run next week, maybe even for Dylan, and it could be me. So, um, especially all this here, like LA stuff and Leinster Trophy and whatever, all the racing coming up. I'm just gonna try battle my hardest, and it's good for real life practice too. Like, so, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, interesting battle with Ryan Johnson as well. A great fight amongst you two, and then Ryan had a little bit of a moment. But was it all sort of panic when you saw yourself veering for the wall?
Um, well, a wee bit. Going through, there was another corner where I think I was an outside line again, and it nearly happened before that, so I was nearly kind of half prepared for it. It wasn't too bad, like, because I went the outside line where all the grip was. At least then he spun towards the grip. Whereas if I was on the inside and where there was no grip, and he sort of spun me that way, then there'd be no way that I could have saved it. But like, it wasn't too bad. It was grand. Like, it just sort of, obviously I lost all the time to the lads, but sure, whatever.
Yeah, and we heard from Travis just there beforehand, and very interestingly, he took the blame for your bit of contact in heat number 2. Any thoughts on that?
Look, sure. If he went for a move, it'd all go for, and it
We blamed
didn't
you, by the
really
way,
work.
just to.
All right, well, cheers. Um,
You
but I
definitely
went for a
moved a
move we
little bit in the
all
braking.
wanna, a move we all wanted. It went for, like, it didn't work out. But like, I'm not gonna put the answer on.
Well, I suppose,
I
Sean,
know
you
I
can
made it
you can
for.
never really do any right, can you?
No, here, that's that. Hey, I'm just awful.
Well, best of luck in Sebring and Oran Park. Even if Kevin doesn't believe it, you are still in the championship fight, so best of luck in the final 6 heats.
All right, lads. Thanks. Hopefully, I'll see you and chat to you and all the good stuff again. Anyway.
So, 3 strange interviews tonight.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I'm all for it. Absolutely. I mean, bring it on. I mean, we've been waiting for Sean basically to say, like, like Sean isn't Dylan's mule. Like Sean is racing in these championships, and he's as much of a right as anybody else to uh to win it and to battle anybody he sees fit, including his own brother. Of course, I mean, for God's sake, you're a little brother. If you don't want to beat your little brother, then you don't want to beat anybody. You know what I mean? Like that's for God. Like I just finally, yes, let's
I
have
think
it.
it's great.
I
And
mean,
what makes it great is they're both so much quicker than everyone else in this championship. So they can. It is them. It is Sean versus Dylan and no one else.
yeah, and
Harvey will disagree with me, but
But like I said last week, like I mean, as and Sean just said it there himself. He said basically he's old enough, he's big enough, and he's well able now at this point. You know, he's bold enough to be able to fight his own battles. He doesn't need his older brother sticking up for him in the playground. Like he can do it himself, and I think we've seen that, and we've seen that in the championships that he's won. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, go for it, Sean McClemens. He's been the wingman to Dylan. He's been there at a time where Dylan was almost getting over the line, just couldn't. I think Sean gave him that extra leg up in the first maybe championship or two where he needed that protection. But now Dylan's well able to do it by himself, and you know. It'll mean all the more when you get up on your own 2 feet and do it without your brother sticking by your side and giving you toes and helping you through qualifying sessions. I mean, they're both going for a championship and they're both as entitled to the championship as the other one. I mean, I don't think you'd see Michael giving Ralph a slipstream in the middle of the Formula One season. So why
okay,
should
let's not get
McLaren's
ahead of
brothers
ourselves.
be able
Ralph
to?
wasn't quick enough.
No, but I'm just well, yeah, true. But I'm just saying that like it's like if you've plenty of opportunities where we've seen brothers on sharing the same racetrack, and you don't have to get out of your way just because your brother's there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, that is it from Okayama. Very interesting Okayama, superbly set up Okayama. We do give Jordan Kelly enough stick, but actually the server and the weather this evening was brilliant. So that was great. Back over the Pacific again to Sebring and right across to the east coast, should I say, of the United States, to Sebring for the penultimate round of the season on the 1st of September. God, it's incredible to say that next week will be September, but anyway. There we go. And you just need to look out your window to realize the summer's over. Head over to rtavirtualmotorsport.com where Ronan will have the standings in within the next half an hour. And he said he promised he'll have it in by then. So you can take his word for it. Then over to Wild Motorsports Instagram page. Plenty happening despite the fact that we're getting to the end. And Ronan hasn't bothered to log into Instagram. But when he does log in, you'll see that Ronan does actually follow him, as well as all of us. And 26,800 others, and let's hope to get that to 30,000 before the end of the season. So do tell
Hasn't
anybody that
changed
you
from
know.
last week, lads. Do better.
Well,
Do
yeah,
well.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's plenty of people in your life I'm sure will be interested in following Paul Motorsport. So get them on it. And over to the Sim Consultants .com for your turnkey simulator solutions. And lads, the weather is absolutely getting worse. It's going to be hosing it down this week. So no better time than to get Ronan
Here's Rob King again.
in to do your sim. And don't worry, because Ronan, I'm sure at some point in his life was Garda vetted, so you can have him into your home without any fear that he'll take anything. Right, that is us
He'll
for
walk
the
up the
No,
stairs.
we're not going there. We're not going
He'll
there. We're
walk
not
up
going
the
there.
stairs at an
No,
angle. At an
Yeah,
angle.
yeah.
Drifting,
Okay.
drifting, right?
Yeah, okay. Right. I'm just gonna put this off before you make a balls of my outro again. Over to Sebring for next week. Thank you very much for joining us. And as always, have a good week. Take it easy. Have a good weekend. Congratulations once again to Ronan Hedeman in his performance in Formula Drift. And we'll talk to you next week. Slán go fóill.